Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you've been enjoying Converge 2025 so far. My name's Matt Forbes. I'm a customer support specialist here at RoboHead, and today we're going to be going over reporting ROI, showing value for your boss. Now, as we all know, many creative and marketing teams can struggle to prove their value and really show off everything that they've achieved over the year. Leadership tends to only care about outcomes, not activity. But our outcome here today with this session is to highlight the impact of what you've done using the tools that are already inside of RoboHead. Those tools being outcome-oriented reports, campaign portfolios, which are a really fun way to show off all your work. They're visual, they're interactive, and they may be something you haven't messed with before, so I highly encourage you to mess around with them after our session today. And then we'll get into surveys. We'll show you how to set those up, what it kind of looks like for the end user, and then we'll circle back to reports and show you how you can incorporate that information into your reports. So first, our outcome-oriented reports. This is all about tracking completion rate, turnaround time, and eventually stakeholder satisfaction with those surveys. We can customize the fields that we want on our report, and the whole goal is just to have a clear visual indicators of your performance and your reliability. Show off what you did this year. So we're going to hop over into RoboHead. We're going to go down to reports. As you can see, I already have this kind of set up. So this is my 2025 completed projects report. I have some pretty simple information over here. You can get as detailed as you'd like. There are so many different options in here that you could just add in if you want to show it off. And if you ever have some questions about what these fields are and what they mean, you can always go over to our help desk. You can go to the reports section, and there's a project field, review and approval fields. You can go in and it'll really break down into the nitty-gritty of what you want. And the ones I wanted to highlight, because these tend to be the ones where people get most confused or tripped up with, is the difference between active and actual with the durations. So the active, as you can see, it's from the day that the project was created to the day that it was archived. Pretty simple. And calendar days and work days are just going to take out the weekends and the holidays, essentially. Actual duration is going to show off from when the first task or review was started on the project to the date that the project was marked as complete. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, if you ever have any questions, you can come in here. You can also just reach out to RoboHead support. We'll be happy to help you break down anything that you're interested in. And so we can go down, as you can see, again, just simple, but you can get into the nitty gritty. You can have what I have set up. Project status includes complete, and the completion date, the actual completion date, was from the start of the year to the end of the year. Big thing to remember with the report filters is when you add on another filter, these are and filters, not or filters. So if I did this and added in project status includes incomplete, it would break the report because there's no project that is both complete and incomplete at the same time, if that makes sense. We can get rid of that. Another thing, I always do this. You want to make sure that you have the state of your projects that you want. If you only want archived projects, you could have that, only active, or I always like to have them set up as both. So we run the report. As you can see, there's slight difference in some of the days here. And all the basic information of just how many days and the name of the project. And again, you can add in as many fields as you'd like, but we find adding in too many fields can get a little bit bogged down and have too much information, but you do what works best for your teams. All right. So now we're going to talk about campaign portfolios. I'm going to show you how to create a portfolio, and it's basically a good way to group your deliverables by initiative to show the breadth of your work. And again, it's kind of a fun, interesting visual way to do it. So we'll head back over into RoboHead, go to my portfolios. We're going to set up a new portfolio. All right, up here first, we're just going to grab the projects that we want included here. I'm just going to grab these. You can add in as many as you'd like. I'll just do projects 2025. You can set up the background color that you want, the binders, the metric box color, all that kind of fun stuff. You'll see what this all pertains to once we get one generated and you can actually take a look at it. And basically, this is going to create a slideshow for your projects. And there's going to be a title slide, which you can create a new image for, or we can choose one of the final deliverables from our projects already. So I can just grab that one, and there we go. We can put in a portfolio summary. As simple or as detailed as you like. And then these are going to be the fields that display for your title slide. You can add in anything you want. It's basically everything you see here. And again, this is just going to be on your title slide. Then we're going to go down to the project slides. We're going to show, you can choose if you only want to include on the title slide the information from one project, you can actually move a project back and forth. And then also, depending on the order that you want, you can shift them around, just like you would in a report. And then we'll get down into the display fields. As you can see, you can have a max of 35 in here, but you can grab as many as you want. And this is basically the same thing as the reports. It's all the fields that are in our report. And then we'll go down and we have those metrics again that we were seeing at the top there with that initial title slide. So we can save, and it'll generate a little project. Portfolio. That portfolio, you click on it, it's going to bring up a separate page. And as you can see, it'll show off the image and then have the summary here like we had. It'll show off your final deliverable from each of the projects. It'll show the name of each of those projects below. But what's really fun is the metrics. This is what we care about. So as you can see, like I said, this is going to be containing everything that we went over with all of the projects. And then we can go to each individual project and see the nitty-gritty stuff that we have in here. And we can always hop back to the images if we like. So yeah, it's a really fun, kind of different way to show off, like a slideshow, to show off all the work that you and your team have been working on. Now, we can then, once it's set up and it's looking good to you, you can always modify if you need to, but then we can go to our share. You can select people that are already in the system, already in RoboHead for you, or you can just type in an email if your boss isn't someone that regularly gets into RoboHead or doesn't have their email address in RoboHead. It'll type in an email subject and a message, and you can set up, it'll send them a link to exactly what we saw with that pop out there. And if you'd like, you can set up an expiration date on there if you'd like. And then you can also set up schedule a little bit later if you'd like as well. Yeah, I really like our portfolios and think they're a lot of fun. All right, next up is surveys. I'm going to show you how to add a post-project survey for your stakeholder feedback. Basically, the whole idea is we can send out a short, simple survey to the end users, anyone that is involved with your project, to get their info back on the satisfaction, and then you can use that information to show off how great you did with your projects this year and how happy your clients were. Hopefully happy, but I know our teams, they're happy. So we're going to hop back over into RoboHead and go to our projects. I'm going to pull up one of my completed projects here. We're going to go to project actions. And all the way down at the bottom, we got send satisfaction survey. So in here, we can choose from the different reviewers and then any other users that you would like to include as well. Then we can go in, we can add a comment, we can add an expiration date, so if you only want the survey to be live for a certain amount of time. And we can also copy files from the specific project, or you can add in a new file if you would like. So if we hit submit, what that'll do is that'll send out a survey email to each of your users that you selected, and I'll add this new survey field. So you can go in, you'll see each of the recipients that were emailed. You can see when it was sent, all that fun stuff. And this is what it looks like for the user. Basically, they'll get this simple little thing. Click on here, and then they can make a comment. And you can give out kudos, which is a great way to show off and really give thanks to the individual users. And we'll show you how that shows up as well. We'll put in, all right, this is Mark. And save. And then that's it. And they can exit out and they can move on. And the way that that shows up is you'll see here. So now the response, the rating, the name, any comments, and any kudos given. And if we refresh my page, you'll see up in the top here, I now have a kudos. It may take a second here. My internet's been kind of slow today. I apologize. And you'll see that we have our kudos here and everything. And so first, when you have that little beeping, blinking bullhorn, that'll show off the kudos that you've gotten recently. But then we can click on this again, and there's an actual kudos section under your user profile. You can go in and select any of the users. Go here, and then there's going to be that kudos page. And this is information that we can go back and put into our reports, which is, I think, quite a bit of fun. So now that we have kudos, we have our satisfaction, we have our completed project, we have all the information we need, we can go back in and I'll show you how to set up the report so that we have that kudos information in there and the satisfaction information in there. And we'll also show you how to set up a recurring, you can send out the report if you'd like. So I'll hop back in one more time. We'll go into our projects. And you'll see I've added in at the bottom here, survey results, the average project satisfaction score, and the kudos given. And I'll show you what the kind of difference between those are. We'll go ahead and run the report. And as you can see, if we scoot on over, we now have the survey result. So the result is going to just show the smiley face option that we were looking at earlier. If people were neutral or they were sad, that'll show the actual color with the different faces there. And then if you just want the number, that's where we have the average project satisfaction score here. Additionally, if any kudos have been given out, it'll show you at least that people are being thanked for the work that they've done by your clients, your stakeholders. So I think that's a great use of the survey results. And now if we want to schedule the results, you could turn this project into a monthly project if you'd like. You would simply go in, and from actual completion date is, we can go in is within days before current date, do 30, 31, stuff like that. And then that'll regenerate that report, and we can schedule the results so it'll run that report with the parameters that you got set up currently. You can have that as a daily, a weekly, or even a monthly. Simply plug in the recipients you'd like to have, and then put in a simple subject and a simple email message, and that'll get sent out to the people that need to be seeing all this stuff. Makes it a little easier for you, and you not have to go in and just generate it every single time and then copying it and sending it, anything like that. Well, hopefully this has been insightful and will give you some ideas on how to use RoboHead and all the different tools that we have inside RoboHead. If you have any questions on any of this, please use the chat or reach out to us afterwards, or just hit up RoboHead support. That's what we're here for. We love speaking with you. So thanks again so much for joining us on Converge 2025. I hope you're having a great time, and I hope your next session's as good or hopefully better than this one. Again, my name's Matt Forbes. I'm customer support specialist here at RoboHead. Thank you so much for your time. You all have a lovely day.